So, well, what do we got here? Supreme Court allows Trump to proceed with mass firings at the Department of Education. So obviously, we all know that Republicans want to go after the Department of Education because they want to destroy public schooling, so they can force the profit motive onto the education system, right? Because like what the main plan that they have is like a voucher system for kids to go to private schools. Like you can use these vouchers to go to whatever school that you want. And it's like, well, the problem is what if you can't afford to buy those vouchers? Because you have to buy the fucking vouchers. Like, are they just not going to get any schooling or something? Like, you have to have a public educational system. And there's other services that obviously public education provides for a lot of more disenfranchised poorer people in comparison to private schooling, which is what all these freaks basically want you to have. Like what do we got here, right? Like another just sort of like go ahead with the destruction of education, which is very typical for conservatives because they don't want people to be educated because they want people as stupid as possible, so they keep voting conservative because educated people do not vote conservative. Supreme Court on Monday said President Donald Trump may proceed with his plan to carry out mass layoffs at the Department of Education in the latest win for the White House at the conservative High Court. In an unsigned order, the justices lifted for now a lower court ruling that had indefinitely paused Trump's plan. Great. Fantastic. Supreme Court going ahead with the destruction of education. Damn. Time for, no more Supreme Court justices when the fucking education system decides to collapse in on itself. Very cool. Are you ready, Boy Meets Mini? I'm so ready. The Supreme Court's decision puts that ruling on hold while the legal challenge plays out. Within 2 hours, the Department of Education sent notices to employees indicating it is immediately resuming its plans to shrink the department. Why? I don't know, because they think it's like fucking woke or some shit. Like, unironically, that's like the reason why they probably think the Department of Education is cringe. It's because it's woke, folks. A bunch of woke libtards have infiltrated education. They're Marxist radicals, and no one likes them. Sure, man. One of the main problems with fucking education are, broadly speaking, the removal of subsidies of universities that Reagan did, and all of the policies that happened under Bush with No Child Left Behind and standardized based testing, introducing like market competition factors within the education system is what's destroying it. But whatever. CNN has reviewed emails sent Monday to some employees who were initially fired in April before the judge stepped in, informing them of the Supreme Court decision and saying they would let it go on August 1st. The department appreciates your service and recognizes the difficulty of the moment. The notice states this RIF action is not a reflection upon your performance or conduct and is solely due to agency restructuring as described in the previous correspondence. Yeah, because Linda McMahon really cares about restructuring the Department of fucking Education. Same with like Betsy DeVos. No, you guys just want to fucking further privatize education. That's all that they want to do. It's kind of like ridiculous how like the future of America was already fucking cooked, and now with like shit like this, it's gonna be even more further cooked. Because again, what do fucking Republicans want out of this? They want obedient little worker bees who are undereducated and will vote fucking conservative. That is the point. They want more fucking lumpen prole because they know that lumpen prole vote Republican. They know that people who are criminally undereducated will vote conservative. That is why. The Supreme Court decision was attached to the notice. Great. In a scathing dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the court's senior liberal member, said her colleagues had made an indefensible decision to let Trump proceed with taking apart an agency that ordinarily can be dismantled only by Congress. Yeah, that's cool. Well, it's all about that, further centralization of power. Didn't Stephen Miller also recently say to the Supreme Court, you better take apart the judicial system and, give more and more power to the executive branch, right? Like, there was, a recent proposal saying, yeah, you can do that, totally. If you just look at through this particular office and you sort of do that, we're just going to do everything possible in order to sort of, destroy the judiciary. We already ignore Congress. We don't care about that. we only want the executive to be the main branch of power because he wants to have a fucking dictator in power because he can easily just control fucking Donald Trump super easily because he's just got his brain fucking leaking out of his ears. Stephen Miller, the fucking egg-headed fucking goddamn Nazi. Oh yeah, exactly, Boy Meets Minnie. Yeah, it is all about like Christian nationalist fucking bullshit as well. Like, Nazi stuff, as always. The majority is either willfully blind to the implication of its ruling or naive. No, they're bought off. They're bought off. But either way, the threat to our Constitution's separation of powers is grave, Sotomayor wrote in the dissent, which was joined in full by the two other liberal justices. Trump ordered mass layoffs at the department earlier this year, cutting its workforce in half, but lower courts have blocked that effort, noting that the Education Department was created by Congress. The president praised the High Court's decision in a Truth Social post Monday. The United States Supreme Court has handed a major victory to parents of students across the country. Yeah, because they totally know exactly how to run their own fucking goddamn children's fucking education. By declaring the Trump administration may proceed on returning the functions of the Department of Education back to the states. And that is sort of, guys, who's ready for fucking Republican states who already have the lower fucking educational fucking attainment, generally speaking, because they are third world, backward fucking shitholes, except for like the cities that are in them. Even then, still kind of fucking dog shit, generally speaking. Whoa. Crazy. Time for their fucking educational attainment to be even made worse and their lives to be generally made worse. Now, with this great Supreme Court decision, our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, may begin this very important process. Yeah, dude. Oh boy. All this like talk about, the wokeification of schools and it's going to just cause suffering, immemorable fucking suffering to broader education for everyone else. Time for you know how like these dumbasses love to complain about science and math test scores. Time for those to fucking hit the shitter, am I right? McMahon in a statement described the court's decision as a significant win for students and families. Sure, man, totally. We will carry out the reduction in force to promote efficiency and accountability and to ensure resources are directed where they matter most. Yeah, dude, because Doge was doing a really, really great job at that. Totally. Yeah. They did such a good job in terms of efficiency and accountability such that it ended up costing the American taxpayers more. Which is the exact same stuff that's going to happen here. It's going to cost them more because, again, these people just want private schools. They want the profit motive to be introduced into education more and more so. The DOE used to be the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. Of course, we separated those out in 1980. Thanks, Reagan. Great. We love Ronald Reagan, don't we? To students, parents, and teachers. I don't think teachers are particularly happy about the Department of Education being, destroyed. As we return education to the states, the administration will continue to perform all statutory duties while empowering families and teachers by reducing education bureaucracy. Yeah, man. Totally. U.S. District Judge Myung Jun, nominated to the bench by former President Joe Biden, indefinitely halted Trump's plans to dismantle the agency and ordered the administration to reinstate about 1,400 employees who had been fired en masse. The ruling came in a lawsuit filed by a teachers union, school districts, states, and education groups. Gee, I wonder why they might not be particularly happy about those things. I thought we cared about the teachers, huh? I thought we cared about what the school districts wanted. Wonder why. Noting that the department cannot be shut down without Congress's approval, Jones said Trump's planned late playoffs will likely cripple it. The record abundantly reveals the defendant's true intentions and is to effectively dismantle the department without an authorizing statute, he wrote. The Boston-based First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously declined to reverse that order in early June, and Trump appealed, of course, which went up to the Supreme Court. And since the Supreme Court only have political interests and are okay with children suffering, let's destroy education. The Education Department, created during the Carter administration, is tasked with distributing federal aid to schools, managing federal aid for college students, and ensuring compliance with civil rights laws, including ensuring schools accommodate students with disabilities. Most public school policies are a function of state government. Dude, who's ready for like red states to just like start just doing like school segregation again? I'm so ready. In its appeal to the Supreme Court, the Trump administration countered that its effort in the education department involves internal management decisions in eliminating discretionary functions that, in the administration's view, are better left to the states. Like what exactly? What? Making sure that people don't get discriminated for particular, I don't know, skin colors and disabilities that they may have. Making sure that they don't have accommodations for that. Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it? Despite Trump's campaign trail promises to eliminate the department entirely, his lawyers told the Supreme Court that wasn't what is happening in this case. Sure, yeah, totally. Instead, they said the department could continue to carry out its legally obligated functions, just with far fewer employees. Sotomayor made clear in her dissent that she thought Trump's arguments to the High Court disregarded the reality on the ground. The record unambiguously refutes that account, she wrote. Neither the president nor Secretary McMahon made any secret of their intent to ignore their constitutional duties. President Trump repeatedly called for the immediate abolition of the department, both during his campaign and after taking office. Yup. And this is just a step to do that, which, I mean, again, conservatives are okay with it because they just want the death of fucking education, so then more people can vote conservative. That's really the point of all this. Like, let's be honest here. She continued, rather than wait for legislative action to begin shuttering the department, McMahon slashed the agency's workforce in half, conceitedly without analyzing the effect of those terminations to the department's statutorily mandated functions. The court's decision, Sotomayor wrote, will unleash untold harm, delaying or denying the educational opportunities and leaving students to suffer from discrimination, sexual assault, and other civil rights violations without the federal resources Congress intended. I'm sorry to say, Sotomayor, but conservatives could give less of a fuck about civil rights violations, sexual assault, and discrimination. Actually, they're okay with that because, again, conservatives do not think that children are human. They believe them to be ciphers, like homunculi that you can prescribe particular ideological sort of ideas and beliefs on, right? They do not think of children as human beings. So that's kind of the main problem here, broadly speaking, right? They don't think of these people as human. That's the issue. The majority apparently deems it more important to free the government from paying employees it had no right to fire than to avert these very real harms while the litigation continues. Yeah, also, they just don't want to pay these people money. Let's be honest here. So cool. That's great that the conservatives are allowed to just run roughshod on the Department of Education because, again, they hate education due to the fact that, again, education, fundamentally speaking, makes it such that, well, people are less likely to be and vote conservative. That's the main fucking issue here that you have to point out, right? If you are educated, you will not be a conservative. Simply put. There's like no other way to like put this. They just want people to suffer from the fact that, well, you know, if they're too well educated, they're not going to want to vote for us because our policies are fucking dog shit. And because the things that we believe in are also fucking dog shit. That's really what's going on here, right? Like, let's keep it $1.50, all right? They just want people to become stupider, so then they vote for fucking conservatives, so they can have, well, you know, a political future. Because otherwise, the more and more educated that you generally get, well, you know, the less and less likely that you vote conservative. And also, they just want the profit motive to be introduced into education. They want the dumbasses to be staying stupid. Smart enough in order for you to be able to work the machines, of course, right? And I'm talking about the sort of broader general masses. But they want the rich to have good educations, right? That's what it's truly all about. Just fuck the poor. We only care about the rich. The poor can like fucking suffer for all we care about. Fuck them. Who gives a shit? And also, we don't really give much of a shit about like children being fucking discriminated against because fuck them. They're children. Suck it up, Buttercup. if you want to make it up out in the real world. You know, rugged individualism for thee, but, you know, based socialism for me, because fuck you. You know, I butchered the MLK quote, but that's like the sort of like MLK quote, right? Yeah, don't think there's really much else to say here besides, well, the Republicans want you to suffer in terms of educational attainment because, you know, they hate education. They've never respected education. They will do everything possible to make it such that, well, you can't get well educated due to the fact that, you know, it would make it such that they lose a significant amount of political power. Don't think there's really much else to say besides that.